Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins. Can't relax. Original. I am not the same as the.
Good afternoon and welcome to Pucks Across Borders. We are back talking a little round two, talking about the conference finals, talking about the games from last night and tonight. Lots to get to. As always, this is Pucks Across Borders on Total Apex Sports on X and Pucks Across Borders on YouTube, brought to you by First Round Collectibles. Right now with promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever card you want in the First Round Collectibles store. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off selected cards. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular price cards, but sales items as well. That's up to 60% off selected cards across the First Round Collectibles store. So go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. Use promo code Sports Addict for 10% off your order. And of course, Total Apex Sports, lots of great content going over there with the basketball playoffs in full swing, the hockey playoffs, baseball's in full swing. Football, football's always in full swing, whether they're on the field or not. It's always in full swing. So lots of great stuff going on over there. And back by popular demand, I'm getting messages every day. Where's Jim? Where's Jim? Jim, great to have you, man. Great to have you. Thank you for joining me. How we doing on this Wednesday afternoon?
We're doing pretty good. It's not too bad. Stanley Cup playoffs are rolling on, and into the conference finals, and there's stuff to talk about.
Lots and lots of stuff to talk about. So we talked about this a little bit pre-show. I'm going to give this to you. I think with regards, and because we've only been doing these shows a couple times a week, topics come, topics go, and we're not gonna talk about every little thing from round two. Carolina beats Washington. They of course started against the Panthers last night. That series is what it was. The Oilers Vegas had potential, but that potential, there's storylines here and there, but for the most part,
I think the biggest thing coming out of Oilers Vegas is that I think we underestimated the depth of the Edmonton Oilers.
1,000%.
I think that's the biggest thing coming out, and I think Stuart Skinner, when that team plays defense in front of him and protects him, and he only has to make 3 or 4 extra saves a game, he's still a good goaltender and can get him to a Stanley Cup final. It's clear as day that's what they're trying to do. And I think Connor and Leon are tired about answering the questions about whether or not this team can play D. I saw it firsthand last year. This team can play defense. They can play defense. Like the Edmonton Oilers under Chris Knoblauch can play defense. But the bigger thing is that they have more depth scoring. All I hear is a lot of people say, oh, Dallas has more depth scoring. Dallas has more depth scoring. You watch the Dallas Stars. Exactly. You want to hear this one? Heading into this series, the Edmonton Oilers, without Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on the ice at 5-on-5, have outscored their opponent 17-9. That's 10 more than the Dallas Stars at 5-on-5. That tells me they have more depth scoring. When Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are playing 200-foot game, playing defense, and sacrificing point totals, and Draisaitl only has 5 goals, by the way, and Perry only has 5 goals. That's the most anybody on the Oilers have during the playoffs right now. Everybody else got 2, 3, 4. That's about it. They know what it takes because they were 1 game away and 1 goal away from winning a Stanley Cup last year. So they know know how to do it. That's the biggest takeaway from Vegas and Edmonton is that Edmonton's depth that we all thought they didn't have. And, oh, by the way, the guys that they signed in, the offseason are sitting in the press box.
Yeah, they're not even
Skinner aren't even playing in our factors right now.
I know.
So here's the thing. Coming into the Dallas series, it flipped from last year. Everybody, Dallas, all this stuff, we weren't sure because it was a Leon Connor show. To me, the Oilers should be a favorite entering against Dallas because Dallas hasn't shown me that outside of one line, and I know Miro Heiskanen is back, but Jake Ottinger better stand on his head every night because any minute Connor and Leon could do whatever they want.
Yeah, and I mean, we're going to talk about that series in a few minutes. I will just add that, I understand where Leon and Connor are coming from. I understand they're mad about getting questions about Skinner, mad about questions about the defense, but let's not pretend that these questions aren't warranted.
No, they are. They're 100% warranted.
I know what they did last year. I get what they did last year. And the playoffs, and they were phenomenal. But come on, these questions are very warranted. But we'll get into it. Brady, great having you on, man. I haven't been watching the Stanley Cup playoffs much. This is a bruised and battered Canucks fan, Jim. This is this guy. Can someone tell me how the Leafs did in their last game?
You know what happened in the last game, and I guess that's where we got to start off the top. Look, I've talked about it. I've written about it. I've said it. It's going to finally happen because now they have no choice. The Toronto Maple Leafs are finally seeing change. The core four is gone. There aren't even a core four, Fab Five, whatever you want to call them. There will be change in Toronto, and maybe Brendan Shanahan's going back to New York, and he's going to be the president of hockey operations. And again, the recyclement of guys. Again, to me, what did Brendan Shanahan do? He allowed failure to happen every year in his 11 years in Toronto, right? I mean, let's face facts. I mean, it's call a spade, and my job is to be critique and not be a homeboy. Yeah, they were a consistent playoff team. Great. But you saw the same mistakes every year after they lost, and I'll forgive the first two seasons, 17 and 18, but I don't excuse 19. I don't excuse 20 against Columbus. I definitely don't excuse 21 against the Montreal Canadiens up 3-1. Up 3-2 against Tampa in 22. You win in 23, great, and then you got the doors beat out of you against Florida in the second round. And then you lose to Boston in overtime in 24. But the issue for me is the same. It's the same crap every time coming out of their mouths. Learning lessons. We're going to get better, this and that. Go do it. I don't know, and there's going to be a piece out tomorrow, and I wrote it up, and it's an opinion, and it's my opinion, but I've asked some credible people about this. Why, when the Maple Leafs brought in all these guys, like the Marlows, and the Ryan O'Reillys, and the Muzzins, and the list goes on of guys that they brought in, that won cups, that made deep playoff runs, how come no one could have a voice in that room greater than John Tavares or Austin Matthews? All they do is sound the same.
Yes.
The same demeanor, no passion, no emotion. You remember, Nathan McKinnon said, I haven't won stuff in 9 years. What happened the next year? You go win the Stanley Cup. He was mad after they lost to Dallas this year. He's like, well, I'm shocked. I'm stunned. They didn't have their best forward or defenseman. I don't know what's going on. That's the kind of stuff you need when you lose. That's the kind of passion you need from a captain and a leader. Not the same robotic answers over and over, whether they were afraid to step on Tavares' toes, whether they didn't think it was their room anymore. All I know is when guys went to the New York Rangers, a la Martin St. Louis, he still had that same voice. I know he's a respected player, he's won all that stuff, but when you bring guys in, like a Ryan O'Reilly who just won a Stanley Cup, you kind of want to listen to that guy and allow him to have his voice. And I think you may see and I personally don't think they should bring back John Tavares because that room needs to change. Because I wonder if you take him out of that room, you see more emotion from that team.
Yeah, I mean, that's what comes to mind for me with guys like Corey Perry. And I know that he's just won the one cup. He's been to 5. Yeah. Right. And so I know that going and winning are different. I understand. But you have a guy there who amongst all this superstar talent, that's the guy that's the guy who's done it. And not only that, he is actually contributing at a high level. I'm right there with you. the one thing, just to talk about what you said about the comments, the one thing that did catch my ear that Matthew said that I actually was like, you know what, I actually appreciate that, was he mentioned specifically about game 6. He said that we had too many passengers, which the actual comment doesn't really matter, but the fact that it wasn't like, oh, we all did our best and we all like, that is one comment where I was like, okay,
But did he include himself in that? Because you better have, because they were all passengers in that.
I know.
Every one of them was.
And I'm right there with you, especially John Tavares, like all of the, like we learn, we move on. I think with regards to what has to happen. So first of all, Jim, with regards to the actual series itself, it's easy to look at the 5 or 6-1 losses, 2 of them, games 5 and 7, both at home. For me, that series was lost in game 3.
Yeah, 100% it was.
Had 2 2-goal leads. You let them both slip away. The Panthers come back in the series 2-1. They dummy you the next night. Joseph Woll played phenomenal. And it was wasted. And then you lose 6-1, 6-1. To me, and I know everybody's talking about like Leaf fans and people throwing like jerseys on the ice and this and that. Toronto is a really smart hockey market, sports market. Like there's smart fans. If the Leafs lost game 7, 2-1 in double overtime, or if the Panthers, scored the second goal with like 3 minutes left and won the series, that whole stadium would have standed up for that team walking off the ice. They would have cheered their team off the ice. But it's, for whatever reason, man, when the chips are down, the team just folds. I would argue if that game was in Florida, I feel like the Leafs would have had a better chance to win that game.
Go back to 2023. Go back to, they're up on Tampa. Right, yeah. Game 6 is on the road, and they found a way to win it. Like, John Tavares does what he was supposed to do. He gets into the second round.
Yeah.
But it's like this team is afraid to play big games on home ice. This team is afraid. Like, they played a great game in Boston last year in Game 7. They lose in overtime, right? Like, they played great.
It's on home ice, man.
Home ice, for some reason, for this team is just not very good, and they're not very good. And, look, I'll say this. They needed to keep it a 0-0 game. But if you look at all the 0-7 now in series determining games, deciding games, right? You look at the goals that have been scored. One. I think it's like 5 of these games, 1 goal. Where is the offense? Like this offensive gifted team that could score at will in a regular season, not there. Like this should have been changed years ago. And it should have been changed after they blew the 3-1 lead to Montreal in 2021 when the Montreal Canadiens went to the COVID final. All right? That's when it should have changed because everything lined up for them to get to the conference final. Everything.
At least
the conference final.
Yes.
You won the Canadian division. You played Montreal. You were only going to play a Canadian team in the next round, in the second round. You had a chance to get to the conference final. And that's when the light bulb should have gone off and said, hey, wait a minute. Something isn't working here after losing to Columbus the year before in 5 games. So, to me, and again, this is where I say, okay, it's all well and good the Islanders are looking at Brendan Shanahan for president, and maybe a change of scenery helps him with his decision-making. I'm not sold on that. But that's where the failure of a president of hockey ops and a general manager with the belief that, they can do it, they can do it. Well, maybe they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And you needed to realize that they couldn't do it. That's why the good general managers or the great general managers know, hey, wait a minute. We can't do it that way. We can't be this high-powered offensive team because once the playoff comes, it's completely different. Prime example, Florida. And I don't want to keep taking away credit to Florida because Florida played an excellent series. You said it. Game 3, it changed. Toronto scores in overtime or scores late in the third period, they're probably off to the conference final. I'm going to be honest. They are.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be tough for Florida to come back down 3-0. Brad Marchand scores. Florida finds their game. Florida found their game in Game 1. They just didn't get the result in Game 2. They got the results in Game 3 and just carried it over. And you're seeing it. And that's what Paul Maurice, and that give credit to Bill Zito. After they got swept by Tampa in 2022 with Huberto on the team, this high-powered team they're like, no, not good enough. Nope. Go get Kachuk, trade away Huberto, Weegar. We're bringing in all these guys that fit our system, and we're going to play it this way. We're going to get Paul Maurice to come in here and do it this way.
115-point Huberto, man. Like,
right.
Gone.
To Calgary. Got like that. Okay, we need Kachuk. We need this guy. We need this is how we're going to play. And look at the Florida Panthers now. And the Toronto Maple Leafs believed that they could do it. And I give credit to Craig Button for saying this. They thought they could do it a different way. It's clear that you can't do it that way.
Yeah. And I mean, I give credit to Brendan Shanahan at the beginning because if we all, lest we all forget, since the lockout early 2000s, this team was a complete disaster.
Yeah.
And bottomed out, and you got Marner, you got Matthews, you got Nylander, you built, and you're absolutely right. If at like the latest, that series against Montreal, at the latest. Maybe even earlier,
The second Boston lost in 2019.
Yeah.
I actually would have done it after, I think the latest would have been Montreal, but if you go back after the bubble, after the playing round against Columbus, maybe you do it then too.
Yeah. So this is the thing. Everyone is saying that there's no way they can bring Marner back. There are reports out there that Marner does not intend to sign with the Leafs. Okay, fine. I will still believe it when I see it. I do think that a very good case to be made for them not bringing back Marner is the fact that Brendan Shanahan, like you said, probably gone. Not just that, Keith Pelly, which this is a deep dive for people who don't know this kind of stuff, but Keith Pelly took over the operation for Maple Leaf Sports. So he's overseeing the Argos, the Leafs, the Raptors, the whole deal. And that to me was in preparation for Brendan Shanahan moving on. If Brendan Shanahan is not the one making decisions, then maybe I will believe that Mitch Marner does not stay here. The reason why I'm being very, very stubborn, I don't think he should stay. And it's not even just the fact of the playoffs and this and that. Something has to change. And this is the obvious one staring you right in the face. He's walking out. Something has to change. So move on. Even if you love the player and the playoff failures don't matter, blah, blah, blah. You're not trading Nylander. You're not trading Matthews. This is the one that has to make sense. My problem, Jim, is that we've been hearing from the media for years now, there's no way they can bring back the same group. There's no way they can bring back the same group. There's no way they can. So this year is only different if Brendan Shanahan does in fact move on. Because if he does stay, I would actually kind of be shocked if they don't find a way to bring back Marner. It's not everybody is right. You are right. Everybody is right. They need to move on. But we've been saying that for years now. So why should I believe this is going to be different?
Look, I agree. Until it happens, right? Like the Maple Leaf thing to do would be to just run it back.
Of course.
But you can't run it back anymore. because now they don't have a choice. They don't. It's been on them.
This guy is such a Vancouver troll job, man. He's just, I'm telling you, man.
I love it.
Dude, the West Coast hates us, bro. It's just the way it is.
Everybody hates. First of all, let's be honest. Like none of like, there's no such thing as Canada's team like in the final. Like no, there isn't. It's not like a team in the States in football. Like America's team, you want to see somebody do good. But here's the other thing, and I think it was a troll job by Brad Marchand and Paul Maurice and all this stuff. Like definitely from Marchand. I think Paul Maurice has been there. He coached there, so he understands it. I don't want to hear about pressure and media and it being put on by the media and the pressure and all this stuff. I live in one of the biggest markets in sports in New York, and the pressure and the media that are on. New York Yankees, pinstripes. That team doesn't feel pressure. Dallas Cowboys. That team don't feel pressure to win. You either have it or you don't have it. In those situations, you cannot be afraid to lose. This team is afraid. They're afraid in the big game. We know what the script was after Game 5. Win Game 6, bring it back. Because they've done it. Down 3-1 to Boston, force Game 7. But in that game, they think they can go back to playing their way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. And it just doesn't. They can get it to that point, but then it feels like the moment's too big to push it over the edge and do it one more time.
And I mean, listen, man, like make more like I like this might seem crazy. I don't think it is at all. I bet you if you swap out number 16 for Toronto and number 9 for Florida, the Leafs win that series.
100%.
I really do believe both those guys free agents. This isn't the time to speculate. We'll do it in a couple months when whatever.
Look, I'll say this. But, I think with Marner, he needs to change his scenery. He needs to just get out of there. Like he needs to get out of there. He just needs to get out and just go someplace where he don't gotta be in the spotlight all the time. Like Utah, Ryan Smith's gonna make a play for Marner like he did at the draft. Like I think that's something that happens. And I don't want to hear about Matt Duchene coming in. And Matt Duchene's hitting a wall in the Stanley Cup playoffs right now, and everybody knows it. And this is why Barry Trotz. I think. Yeah, and there's a reason why Barry Trotz bought him out in Nashville. You could clearly see he's hitting that wall. Like Sam Bennett, great. You're gonna overpay for him if he comes up there, right? Like Matthew Nyes is that dude, right? Like there are guys on that team that are, but you can't win with like this. You have 4 of the same player, none of them's getting the job done. Tavares is hitting the wall. I know you need second line centers, right? And you need all this stuff. But here's the issue for me. It's not mental. You either have that instinct where the lights come on, you step up, and you know what the situation is. Or you don't. Yeah. And if you don't, you need the dude that can do it. So, and I've seen it, like McDavid knows what it's like. Draisaitl, you saw the passion on that Amazon Prime series. Like after they lost, when they were losing in that series, he's like mad, right? Like, I don't know, these guys are quiet leaders and this and that. Then when you brought in those other guys, those guys needed voices in a room to get mad, but everybody just fell in line.
And to your point before about like the media, this, media, that, listen, I'm actually glad that you brought this up because I've been thinking about this for a while. So in Vancouver, and I'm not just saying this because Homeboy is on and just loves his city so much, but I like the whole Pedersen Miller thing that was happening. Yes, that was a problem in the room. Yes, that was something that had to be dealt with. Whether they dealt with it properly or not, that's a whole other conversation. Make no mistake, that was expanded on over and over, beaten to death by the media. That was not media created, but it was media exposed, and it was enhanced by the media. That Vancouver media took that and they did not let it go. They did not. Rutherford, he's coming out 2 years before Hughes' contract is up, he's talking about he's creating his own crap storm over there. He doesn't need
everybody just needs to shut up right now. Like,
yeah,
just shut up or like be quiet and go about your business. And
that's what I'm saying, right? That's all perpetuated by him, and then the media jumps on it, and then they just it just explodes. Toronto is
real quick on Vancouver.
Yeah.
With the Miller and Pedersen thing, my biggest question to everybody out there, and I've yet to hear it, ask the management. If you knew this was a problem and winning covers up anything, why did you give both guys an 8-year contract when this went back 3 years?
Yeah. And so, like, to me, it's very heavily media driven out there, these problems just beaten into the ground. But then, like, Rutherford goes out and just says something that's just gasoline on a fire. And I don't believe Toronto's that way, man. Yes, the media is harsh here. Yes, it's very large. It's not just harsh. It's large. It's a, very big. You want to find something about the Toronto Maple Leafs, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of writers and this and that. If you want to find something about the Dallas Stars, there's like 5 of us. You know what I mean? It is big and it is loud. However, it's the play on the ice that has brought the media to these conclusions. It's not some fake, like, made up whatever the media's just mean. It is the play on the ice that has happened year over year over year. And people want to get mad about fans throwing their jerseys on the ice. If it is live play, I have a problem with it. But if the whistle blows and the play's dead and you want to throw your $350 whatever, like what this fan base has gone through over the last 25 years, there is a right to boo them off the ice game 7. There is, when they come out and play like that. So just to your point about the whole media thing, I am right there with you. This is not the big bad media. They bring it on themselves. And I mean, Jim, guess what? Game 7, even after the game 5 debacle, game 7, they had a chance to change the narrative that is perpetuated by the media. They had a chance. Even with a really, really good game, if you lose by 1 goal, it is what it is. But when you come out and have a performance like that, you can't blame the media.
No.
You can't blame, you know what I mean? Like that, I'm 100% with you.
Dude, you can't do it. You can't blame the media, and you can't blame you can blame yourselves because you didn't step up to the plate and perform at a high level, right? Like that's the thing for me. They didn't perform at a high level. They didn't play well. They stunk. And you got to own it sometimes. Like, all right, we didn't play good. But they don't. And now they're breaking it up. And they're at the point where they have no choice. Like, again, you bring it. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and getting a similar result. Well, guess what? You've been in 2 playoff second rounds since 2004.
Yep.
And you got smoked in both of them. Yeah, I know you went to game 7, but if the Panthers come out and play like the Panthers in game 6, the series was over in 6. Like, let's be realistic here. Okay? Yeah. They played a perfect road game, and they needed to do the same thing against them on game 7. They didn't do it. Now, orchestrate change and put a roster together that you can be proud of, that can win hockey games when it matters. Sacrifice points in the regular season. Sacrifice your own points well, first of all, like, guys don't even step up. Like, again, Austin Matthews, where you're at. Yeah, you're dealing with an injury. I get it. Right? Wrist injury, groin injury, whatever you're dealing with. Neither one went MIA after game 3. Tavares, don't know where he was. Like, push comes to shove. It's all well and good when you have depth scoring, but your big guns still got to deliver. Kasperi Kapanen scores for Edmonton. Who's on the back end getting assists? McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yeah.
One of the two. Right? Yep. When Dallas is winning goals, or scoring goals or winning games. Yeah, maybe Harley, but guess who's getting an assist? It's Heiskanen, it's Rantanen, it's somebody like that.
Yep.
Florida, who's doing it? Like, yeah, I know they're third line, which has been excellent all year, but we know what Brad Marchand can do in the playoffs. But Verhaeghe's starting to pick it up. Reinhardt's starting to pick it up. Those guys factor in. The top guys for the Maple Leafs are not factoring in at all.
No. And so my final question to you about this series is, Jim, and I haven't really heard this talked about. Now, to be honest with you, now that the Leafs are out, I've put most of my attention has been on the Dallas Stars. But now that the Leafs, I'm not even paying attention to the Eastern Conference. And not because I'm like a butthurt fan, but because I have a job to do and I'm not really worried about the Eastern Conference right now. And my point in saying that was I haven't really been listening to Toronto radio this week. I haven't really been to engage with the dialogue that's happening here, but I have not heard anybody talk about this. If Stolarz doesn't get hit in the head with the puck and the Sam Bennett thing, whatever that was, if that doesn't happen, is this series different? I have to believe it is. And I don't mean necessarily different as in the Leafs win. I just mean different as in they don't get outscored, 12-1 or 12-2 at home for the last two home games of the series.
I think that's some of it. I mean, we could play the what-if game if Stolarz stays in because he was playing really well.
Yeah.
I got to believe, though, the Florida Panthers still find their game.
Yeah, I agree.
And even when Stolarz did play in the regular season, the Panthers, when they were undermanned, found a way to beat him and the Maple Leafs. So I gotta believe, even after game one, say that the Leafs win. Maybe here's the thing. I'll say this: maybe Florida doesn't find their game at the end of game one and carry it in game two. Yeah. Maybe that's the difference, right? That could have been the difference.
And I mean, game three. You have two.
I mean, like how many goals in game three? Yeah, but again, you're up 3-1, right? But how many of the goals went in? Went off two of Riley. Two of them went off Riley's butt.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, listen, I'm not saying that that's the reason why they lost the series. Clearly not. But that is a narrative where he gets the puck shot off the head, and then Bennett does what he does, and it was way back in game one, so we kind of forget about it. But there's no doubt that did have some sort of momentum shift, even if it like didn't really show itself until later in the series. Before we move on, is there anything else from this topic that you want to get off your chest? I mean, we could talk about the Leafs for 2 hours.
We could talk about the Leafs for 2 hours. I think my final say is just don't run it back. Be smart. Get Matthew Nye signed. Just keep him a Maple Leaf.
Yeah.
And figure, because your defense is good. You have good goaltending. Get the right pieces up front.
Yeah.
And let the guys go. Like, at some point, the old way of thinking when there was no salary cap of it's okay to let a guy walk for nothing has to be put into somebody's mind.
Oh, I have no problem with it. Yeah.
I have zero problem with it. As somebody told me, when did this thing... what? Just because the Calgary Flames had no choice to trade Matthew Tkachuk before his time was up, now all of a sudden, come July 1st, you have to get something for somebody?
No.
The Vancouver Canucks are going to let Brock Besser walk for nothing.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's okay.
Well, and I mean, Jim, like, we're not talking about just, a guy with like $3 million off the books. Like, we're talking about between two players, we're talking about $21.5 million off the books. Two players plus the cap hits going up, plus whoever else leaves and whatever. We're talking about a minimum of $21.5 million on the book or off the books. And that's where with Brad Treliving, because like listen, Treliving was given what he had like to work with, right?
Right.
You had Marner long term. You had Nylander. Well, I guess Tree Living got
He
Nylander
signed
signed.
Nylander and Matthews.
Yeah, but they were there. He hasn't, and I mean, like what he did with the defense, what he did with the decor, but he hasn't really had the opportunity to make really high changes with the players that we're talking about. And now it's his chance to really, okay, you did what you did with the defense, you did what you did with the goaltending. Now you have 21.5 million plus off the books. Now what happens? So that's not dude, that's not just letting the guy walk. Like you're literally, that's a whole ton of money that you can do a lot with.
You can really redo your team with the money that you're getting back.
Big time. All right. Before we move on to the conference finals, Jim, my great friend Brady, who hasn't joined the show for a while, we love giving this guy a hard time. He has a really in-depth, not question, statement for you. What do you think about...
No. He's not being a Canuck forever. No, he won't be. Unless the Canucks do what they do all the time, and is that guy looks like he's going, and then out of nowhere an extension comes in place. I just think the way they've treated Brock Besser, I think he's done. I don't think he wants to be there. JT Miller's not there anymore. That was his buddy. He's gone, right? Think about it. Guy was a 40-goal scorer. He came into the season, he said, look, I got a lot to live up to, right? I've had some health issues and this and that. And then you hear Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford talk, well, we're evaluating. We'll see you at evaluating. You don't know what this guy is? Like, you have a potential consistent 30-goal scorer here, and you're not sure what he is?
I know.
Like, they always undervalue him. They always critique him. It's always Besser's fault. They criticize him. You don't think he doesn't hear it? His agent hears it. The low ball on the offers. They tried to move him at the deadline. Like, they did. And they tried to give him... He doesn't want to be in Vancouver anymore.
No.
He just doesn't. And it's a drama-filled fest. Why would you want to stay there? Rick Tocchet didn't want to deal with that mess anymore.
No. I know. And, I mean, listen, man, they're already, like... The fact, this is a whole different thing, but the fact that they're already talking about Quinn Hughes, which was brought up by Jim Rutherford, right. I just is so idiotic. Like, I just can't believe that tire fire that just started.
And then he just keeps talking about, oh, yeah, I really have, 18 months to figure it. No, dude, you have 12 months to figure it out. You have until next July 1st to figure out whether or not Quinn Hughes is staying. Not the 2027 trade deadline. Or the 2020, not the 2026 trade deadline. You have until July 1st, 2026 to figure out whether or not he's staying or not.
It's not hating, Brady. It's not hating, bro. I have nothing against Vancouver.
I love Brock Besser.
Yes.
He's a great player. I've always loved the Vancouver Canucks. I think they're a good organization. But they're also missing the stuff that Toronto's missing. And I think they're cursed. And I think it's the curse of Bruce Boudreau and the way they handled that situation.
And they're bringing these issues on themselves with their mouths. Like, This isn't even purely actions. This is words that are unnecessary that just cause a ton of issues. But moving on to the conference finals, we're going to talk about Edmonton and Dallas, including the game tonight. Before we do, really quickly, for the Panthers, series is over Sunday. No big deal. 5-2 win against the Hurricanes in Carolina last night. Really quickly, obviously these odds have changed since the Panthers won last night. Carolina to win the series plus 195. Panthers to win the series minus 240. Jimbo, I know once again that the series started last night, but give me your thoughts. Carolina, Florida. I said this, people can check the tape. I said this before the playoffs started. I said this before round 2 started, and I will say it again right now. I've always believed that whoever comes out of the Atlantic is going to the Stanley Cup Finals. I believed it then. I believe it now. No disrespect to Carolina. I think they got a good thing going. I'm really happy for Freddie. I'm really happy with how well he's been playing in the first 2 rounds. Not just happy as like media, but like actually as like a human being. This guy just can't stay healthy to save his life, and he's healthy again, and he's playing really well. I just always believe whether it was Tampa, Toronto, Florida, whoever got out of that division was going to the Stanley Cup Finals, and I feel that way still. Jim, yes, no?
Yeah, I think the Florida Panthers are going back to the Stanley Cup Final. Look, they had the benefit of playing Game 7, and they were kind of in game mode of that every other night.
Just keep it going, right?
Right, just keep it going, and I kind of saw that in Game 1. Like, just they came out there, right, and that's who they were, and that's what they were doing. They come off that high Game 7. Carolina's been sitting since Thursday. They're playing hard. Carolina still got some production, but you knew something was going to happen. Some, questionable call on Aho. I think you got to take a couple guys there, but hey, that's the ref in me. And then you look at it and you say to yourself, all right, well, they just rolled. That third line continues to score of Marchand, Luosterainen, Lundell playing well together. Their fourth line, Nosek, Greer, Gachovic just contributing. Even their top guys are rolling. The power play. Get 2 power play goals. Bobrovsky's in the zone. But they were rolling. Carolina hasn't played since Thursday, right? There are some goals that Freddie Anderson gives up that he wasn't giving up earlier in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Carolina's now 0-13 in, Eastern Conference Finals. Their last one came in Game 7 of 2006 when they won the Cup. They've been swept every time they've been in the conference final. 2009, 19, and 23. Can they change it in Game 2? The way Florida's playing, I don't know. Like, the Florida Panthers, to me, are on a mission, and they're just playing that style. And I like the way Paul Maurice said, I just didn't like our game tonight. Even though I won the game, he's like, I didn't like our game. There are elements I liked, but overall, I didn't like our game.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just what the Panthers do, man. They just find a way. And as soon, to go back to Game 7, take away the whole Leafs side of it, 0-0 game, partway through the second period, you knew if the Panthers got the first goal, the floodgates were going to open. It didn't matter who they were playing, whether it was Toronto, whether it was Ottawa, whether it was whoever it was. That's how it was going to play out in that game. I'm right there with you, man. I don't got much to add. I just think, listen, the reason why I thought Carolina was going to lose to Washington is one of the same reasons why I think that they're going to lose to Florida, just on a much bigger scale. Washington has Tom Wilson, and Carolina doesn't have anybody like that. And I thought that Washington having a guy like Tom Wilson would be enough to throw the Hurricanes off. Well, the Panthers have 23 Tom Wilsons that just all play that way. So I just think that's we can talk about goaltending. We can talk about whatever. These guys, they will pants you in the schoolyard, take your milk money, slap you in the face. They don't care. They'll just get the job done. So for that reason, pretty much alone, I'm right there with you. I think the Panthers move on. Do we have? I honestly, man, 5 or 6 games. I don't think this is going 7.
I think this is going 6. I think this will go 6.
Yeah.
I think Carolina actually finds a way to actually win. I still can't believe they've lost 13 straight conference final games,
which is crazy.
Because with the same things we talk about with Toronto, you kind of could say a thing about Carolina real quick. It's like they could get to this point, but no one ever believes they could get past this point because this is when everything dries up. Yeah. And you're kind of still seeing it now. We'll see what happens in Game 2. But you never know with this team. But I still got Florida going all the way.
And I'm not, this is no disrespect to Carolina. You have to play who you play, but really the only competition over the last however many years in that division has been the Rangers. That's
right.
been,
and they lost to the Rangers.
Yeah. That's been a weaker division for years now than the Atlantic. And that's just the way that it is. All right, moving on. We're going to finish up the show. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. As always, we appreciate it. Jim, thanks for hopping in once again.
Oh, always, dude.
So our guy Andre Brady, this is for you. He is still around. He is still with us. I'm gonna try to get him on tomorrow. I'm gonna try my best, but he's doing his thing. And like I said, his house burnt down, and he's living in a tent. So which that's not true. But
that sucks. Yo, bro, Andre, get a house back, man. Like no one wants to be living out of a tent. Though you may not be on social media, so that's a good thing in today's day and age.
Yeah, man, less distractions, right? Simple living. But
right, exactly.
But we are going to move on and finish out the show with the Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars. Before the show ends, we will give out some bets for tonight. For the Dallas Stars to win this series, minus 102. For the Edmonton Oilers to win this series, minus 118. As a Dallas guy, I do have thoughts on this series, but as always, Jimbo, give me your thoughts. Dallas, Edmonton, game 1 tonight in Dallas. What are you looking at as we head into this series?
So I want to see how Edmonton responds coming off. I think they last played about a week ago now, I believe, was their last game. That.
Yeah,
right? They finished up what? Wednesday, right? They finished up Wednesday, I believe. Right?
I think Wednesday or Thursday. I'll double check that for you.
Yeah, but it's about a week. It's about the same time. I want to see how they come out because they were kind of in a groove in that Vegas series after Game 4 and Game 5, the way they were playing. So I want to see how quickly they can, get back their rhythm that they were playing in because Dallas played Sat. Yeah, so it's a week,
Wednesday.
Right? So it's a week, right? You love the rest, but you don't want too much rest this time of year. Dallas played Saturday. They still have a few days off, so, but they have the luxury of that, like, emotional game in Game 6, right? That overtime win, to have, like, a few days to just be like, all right, we can reset now, right? So, Ottinger's going to be tested. Dallas needs, if they want to get to a Stanley Cup final, needs more scoring outside of Mikko Rantanen, Rupe Hintz, and Mikael Granlund.
Yes.
They need more than that. Wyatt Johnson's too inconsistent. Jason Robertson, I know, is coming back from the injury, but you're getting nothing from Ben, Sagan, and Duchesne. The bottom guys are really not doing much. You're double shifting Mikko Rantanen all the time, and I think, to me, if I'm Pete DeBoer, I think the one thing I do is go back to 12-6 because it looks like to me, and he'll never admit it, he won't, because he's a moose and he's a horse. Rantanen looks tired from all the double shifting. That's just me. But
yeah,
he just looks exhausted. I think his legs are starting to go because you're running 11-7. If Miro Heiskanen's playing 24 minutes when you're rolling 11-7, you just go back to 12-6.
Yeah.
Just do it. Because if Heiskanen's playing that many minutes, you can go back to 12-6, let the forwards reset on the lines. Andre's going to be tested. He needs to be just as good as he was against Winnipeg if the Dallas Stars are going to win, and Pete DeBoer's actually going to get to a Stanley Cup final since 2016. He hasn't done it since then. Great what Dallas has done. 4 in 6 years, conference final, 3 in a row, all that. They just never can get past this point.
Yeah, I mean, with regards to Rantanen, his he does get double shifted, but his minutes don't actually change that much. However, he is still on like every other shift. So right. I'm not saying like that is still exhausting. His minutes don't change too much, but I'm right there with you. To me, this comes down to 3 things. Now, I guess 4, because I do agree with you that the depth scoring, they have to get goals from more people than that top line. Because, okay, great, Rantanen doesn't score a hat trick, but then Granlund scores a hat trick. Well, guess what? They're on the same line, right? One was on the power play, but still, to me, yes, okay, Jason Robertson. We can give him the grace for the Winnipeg series. You didn't play for the whole Colorado series. You're jumping in the middle of the playoffs. Okay. However, you've been back for 2 weeks now. And he has been looking better. It's just so funny, man. Like Miro's first game back, you could tell it was his first game back. By game number 3, the guy was at the crease all the time.
Right.
Where Jason Robertson, as slowly as it went on, he's been looking better. But you're right. That grace, it's over now. You have to go out and get the job done. For me, number 1, the 5-on-5 play has been okay for Dallas. It's been okay. It hasn't been great. Hasn't been spectacular. It's been okay. Their special teams have been phenomenal. Their power play, 3rd in the league when it comes to the playoffs. Their penalty kill, 3rd in the league when it comes to the playoffs. The Oilers' penalty kill is 14th. 66.7%, I think 0.7, 66 point something percent for the penalty kill for the Oilers, which is awful. They are the only team in the conference finals that are not in the top 4. I think Dallas is number 3, Florida's number 2, Carolina's number 1 in PK, I believe, something like that. My point is, if you're looking for something that the Dallas Stars have the clear advantage on, it's the power play versus the penalty kill. And I think that that's going to be really, really fascinating to watch as we move forward. The other thing, like you said, Jake Ottinger, man, he has been such an under-talked about story. He's been phenomenal this whole playoffs. Yes, there's been goals here and there that have gotten by that he shouldn't have let in, but he has been spectacular. I thought, especially game 6, man, like even the games where the final score was 4-0, 4-0, 4-0, 5-1, he was still really good. His team was just kind of melting down, right? So I'm right there with you. Jake has to be Jake. The funny thing is, Jim, is that going into the series against the Kings had the better goaltending on paper. Mm-hmm. Didn't matter. Mm-hmm. Going against Vegas had the better goaltending on paper. Didn't matter. The Oilers, Stuart Skinner sucks. Stuart Skinner's awesome. Oh no, it's Kyle Pickard. Oh yeah, it's Kyle Pickard. Like, it's literally just been every whatever. Stuart Skinner hasn't allowed a goal in
2 games. Actually,
7 periods?
Yeah. No, his last goal was with like 0.4 seconds left. There was a Riley Smith goal in game 3.
Right. But then in game 4 and 5,
game 5 shutout.
Right? So that'll be fascinating to watch. The last point I'll make, and I'll let you chime in, is after or before game 7 against the Avalanche, Pete DeBoer said, home ice doesn't matter except for game 7s. And I think this is going 7 games. And everyone, like the last series, everyone wanted to talk about how the Jets were this awful road team and like Hellebuck is awful on the road. And it was all about the Jets on the road. The Dallas Stars haven't been too great on the road either.
I saw that you made that comment during that series. I saw you made that comment. I'm like, yeah, they haven't been great on the road.
No, man, they haven't. Thank God that they won game 1 against the Jets, because that was the only road win that they had the whole series. And thankfully, they were able to win in game 6 at home, because if that went back to Winnipeg, like Dallas
isn't winning. Dallas isn't winning. Dallas wasn't. I think Pete DeBoer's undefeated streak in game 7s would have came to an end.
I agree. So for me, the fact that this is at home, I actually do think really does matter that they have home ice advantage.
I mean, it didn't matter last year. They had home ice advantage.
So, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
The Oilers, I think the Oilers are on a mission. I think the way Connor and Leon are playing, it just feels different with the Oilers. I think they want it. They want to go back and they want to taste it. And they want to win. They're just on this mission to win. They could play no matter where. And it's all business like right now for Connor and Leon post game. Like there's no emotion, there's nothing. They're like, we're all right, yep, on to the next one. That's it.
Yeah. No.
Like that's to me the difference in the Edmonton Oilers right now. They're playing good defense. They're protecting Stuart Skinner. Their power play's still good. Their penalty kill is really good. The depth scoring is what's carrying this team. So we'll see what happens.
No, you're absolutely right. All right, moving on to tonight's game really quick, and then we will get everybody out of here. The Edmonton Oilers plus 106. Let me just pull this up. Plus 106, the Oilers. Dallas minus 128. Minus 1.5 for the Stars is plus 184. Plus 1.5 for the Oilers, minus 230. Over 6.5, plus 112. Under 6.5, minus 138. Jim, game 1, Western Conference Final. How do you see this game going tonight?
I see this game going to be a close game. I think Dallas, since they've only had a couple of days off, could find their momentum early. I think Edmonton's going to need to find their momentum.
Yeah,
a little bit. Just been a week off. It's so much. There's only so much you can do in practice this time of year. But I think the Oilers are determined. I think they want to win. I'm not sure they steal game 1 on the road, but I could be wrong because I bet against the Oilers all year.
yeah.
So
I know.
I mean,
So am I.
so I don't know. It's tough because teams have had time off. The 6.5 number scares me just because it just feels like it's not going to be set. 7 goals in this game seems. I mean, you never know. Both goalies could be off, and we could be seeing a 5-4 hockey game. So maybe take the over in this one. Dallas are favored. Would I be shocked if Edmonton wins game 1? No, I wouldn't. Because they know they can do it. They know they can come back. Because here's the thing with Dallas, don't sit on the lead. If you got the Oilers down, put them out.
That's big time. Yeah.
Like, do it. So, I'll take Edmonton on the road game 1. Why not? Why the heck not?
Absolutely love it. I do disagree. I do think Dallas wins this game tonight for the reason that you said before, man. I think like that they've been sitting around for literally a week. I think Dallas still has the momentum, not momentum as in, but just as in their legs, right? They played just a couple days ago. I do think that matters. So I do like the Dallas Stars to win tonight. But listen, man, they went up 2-1 in the Western Conference Final last year, and the Oilers won 3 straight games on the way to the Stanley Cup Final. So that has nothing to do with the outcome of the series, but I do think that the Dallas Stars win tonight. All right, this is my, and right off the bat, I feel like you're going to disagree with me on this, but this is my 3-leg same game parlay best bets brought to you by First Round Collectibles. I really like the Dallas Stars on the money line. Might surprise you. I think it's going to be a bit of a higher scoring game, specifically from Dallas's perspective. I think Dallas over 3.5 total goals. And I think Miro, that game 6 for Miro, we didn't talk about that at all, but that game 6 for Miro was lights out, man. He looks phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I think he gets 3+ shots on goal tonight. And you can get Dallas Stars money line over 3.5 total goals for Dallas, and Miro 3+ shots for +7 or +473. Jim, thank you so much for joining us. Tell the people what you got coming up. Where can they read you? Where can they watch you? Where can they find you? What's in the works for Jim?
There's a lot in the works. A lot of works. NHLrumors.com, get me up. There's some stuff coming up there. Full Press Hockey, I got some new things up, especially about that Florida Panthers third line and what they've done all season long. And I have working on something, 2 articles on the Oilers. I also have so Dallas Stars fans are like this. If you're a Dallas Stars fan, Full Press Hockey on YouTube, I did a video about Mikko Rantanen and his play in the Stanley Cup playoffs, along with the Toronto Maple Leaf stuff. So go check that out.
Yeah,
Full Press Media Substack, I got some things coming. One on the Maple Leafs and new voices needed in that room. I'll do something on Connor and Leon and the defensive play. Just a bunch of stuff rolling for the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I think this weekend, Memorial Day weekend here in the States, I'll drop a nice rumors blog for everybody that, follow along and watch because we have some fun. Also, I'll probably record another Full Press Hockey podcast this week. And then Final Word on Hockey up on Spotify and iTunes as well. So check that out. A couple big, nice, some fun we had this week. 2-for-1 special this week. So check it out.
Love it, man. As always, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, have a great night. Enjoy the games. Pucks Across Borders brought to you by First Round Collectibles. Promo code SportsAddict for 10% off your order. Ongoing sale up to 50% off. Dozens of different cards, and you get 10% off of regular price items and sales items as well. Up to 60% off. TotalApexSports.com. Lots of great content across all major sports. Have a great night. We will see you next time.